In this video, we are going to look at positive versus normative statements. Economists play two key roles, one of a scientist and another of a policy advisor. Because they have different goals, they use different languages. The scientist normally uses facts for his statements and it is mostly descriptive in his way of speaking, while as the policy advisor will base his opinions on value judgments and it is more of a prescriptive way. To make it more simply, scientists would say what it is and how the world is, and policy advisor would like to say what the world should be. So let's look at an example here of a positive statement. Minimum wage laws cause unemployment. And when you look at a normative statement, it would be more of the government should raise the minimum wage. Now, notice that the positive statement is making a claim how the world works. It's simply stating a fact. Whereas the normative statement is making a claim how the world should be and how they like to change the world to be. When you look at all the differences between the positive and the normative statement, this is basically for your exams, that if there is a question, what are the key differences between a positive and normative economics or normative statements, then you can list down this. The key difference between the positive and normative statements is how we judge their validity. As I told you, positive statements are from a scientist perspective, so it would either confirm or refute positive statements by examining facts and evidence. An economist might evaluate positive statements by analyzing data on changes in minimum wages and changes in unemployment over time. And then they can see and draw a conclusion whether minimum wage law is causing unemployment or not. It's simply the fact. Whereas, if you look at normative statements, it involves values as well as facts. Now, normative statements cannot be judged using data alone. Deciding what is good or bad policy is not merely a matter of science. It also involves our views on ethics, religion, and political philosophy. Of course, positive and normative statements are maybe even related. For example, here, that minimum wage law causes unemployment, if this is true, then we have to reject the normative statement, because the government, if they are going to increase the minimum wage law, it is going to increase unemployment also. So normative statement cannot only be based on positive statements or data alone, where we come of a different political philosophy where we should try to eradicate poverty. If that is the case, is raising the minimum wage law the right policy, will come to another debate. So as we study economics, we should keep in mind the distinction between positive and normative statements. Much of economics just try to explain how the economy works, yet often the goal of economics is to improve how the economy works. So likewise, a scientist would say this is economy is, and it's trying to explain with theories and assumptions and models, and we would see like how the world is and tries to explain what it is. But our goal of economics is to improve the economy how it should be. So when we hear economists making normative statements, we know that the economist has crossed the line from scientist to being a policy advisor. The most easiest way to identify the difference between the two, maybe this can be an MCQ question here. The positive statements contains word like is, was, or will be, but and also like cause and so on. But the most easiest to see to detect normative statements, because they will always use like have to, must, or should, or such as non-quantifiable adjectives such as important. Because the main reason is you cannot test these statements and it is based on value. And what should be, it's very subjective. So this branch of economics is based on values and opinions rather than basing it on just facts and being objective. So the statements that can be tested through scientific methods would be positive economics. So these are the two key differences, and there is always a debate between what should be the policy should be. Is it from a positive and facts driven policy making, or should we judge our opinions based on value based rather than only just facts based? But when you look at the real world, it is partially normative. All the policymakers, they would rather base their value judgments along with the facts and try to make it as a partial normative statements.